What's going on, y'all? It's your man Breeze. I've been talking about this whole Kaepernick situation all day. Various people or whatever. Obviously, it's the hot topic. Um, First of all, that man has his right to do what he want to do. If he want to sit down, he can sit down. Nobody said that. You have to stand up. I mean, that's what we're told as kids. You have to stand up and put your hand on your heart and all that. I'm sure everybody's seen the picture circulating of Donald Trump not putting his hand over his heart when they were pledging allegiance to the flag. And this is during the Republican debates on a international scale of things. This isn't a football game. This isn't people who just like football. This is people who's paying attention to America from all around the world, seeing what's going on. And the person who ends up being our Republican candidate, or the Republican candidate, I won't say our, but the Republican candidate, doesn't even pledge allegiance to the flag. And there's no backlash. You don't see any of this. Nobody's calling him unpatriotic. Nobody's tearing his Twitter account up. None of these things, Nobody's saying they hope he dies and all these things for that. Now, you got an athlete who exercises his right as an American and as a human being to say or not even say what he feels, but to just not participate in reverencing a flag that stands for something that isn't even really being upheld. The flag itself, for what that's supposed to stand for, liberty and justice for all, and all these types of things, One nation, we not that. Under God, that's up for question. Indivisible, we damn sure are divided. With liberty and justice for all, and we know that's not it. Anytime you got a guy that gets the cops run down on him when he's burglarizing a house, and when the dog jumps on him, he shoots the dog, and he gets 45 years in prison for shooting the dog. Actually, he got 34 years for the dog, and then 11 years for all the other charges. So you get 34 years for shooting a police dog, but you get paid leave for shooting an unarmed black man or a brown man or other person of color. It's crazy. It really is. If Kaepernick wants to sit down, he can sit down. I salute him for putting himself on the line like that. That man fell on the sword. He did some stuff that a lot of athletes have been scared to do. I see that it's going to happen. There's going to be more that's going to do it. You see people have been protesting silently, and every time somebody does it, they wear the T-shirts. The girls from the WNBA wore the T-shirts. They got ridiculed. Now, Gabby, she doesn't put her hand on her heart. She gets ridiculed. Everything that somebody does to say what is going on against Black America is wrong. They get ridiculed for it, and they get ostracized for it, and they're told that they're wrong. That has to stop. And the thing is, that right there shows you just what the backbone of America is right now. Look at how many people come out for folks when this stuff happens. People are so mad that black folks got cast in certain movies. So they get on Twitter and they go in all type of racial slurs all day long. And nobody has anything to say about it. Nobody. Why doesn't anybody stand up for that? If the flag is representing liberty and justice for all, why nobody stand up when these cops get off for killing these guys? Why does that happen? Why is it okay for the cops to get off for killing these women when they're going to jail? All these women is coming up missing in jail. Why is it okay for all of our young youth to be able to get murdered by law enforcement? And I don't want to hear the whole argument either about, you know, we do this stuff to ourselves and all of that, because you also have to look at origins. You know, that's what you have to look at. People breed situations. It's something called cause and effect. And when you look at origins, you see why certain things happen. So you can't demonize people. You can't demonize our flaws. Look what you created. You created that. You understand? You stole stuff from folks and left people in poverty. And when you're in poverty, everybody knows poverty is synonymous with crime. We know this. So when you leave people in poverty-stricken situations and you don't care about them at all, and then whenever they tried to build something up, you do everything you can to try to tear it down, because you know from the beginning the whole ploy was not to have us come here and be equal. The whole ploy was to come here, use our backs and use our brains to build America, and then try to do something to get rid of us or figure out how to just stay on top of us the whole time. And that's what has been occurring. Systematic racism. That way they can keep their place. It's a white supremacy thing. I'm not saying all white people at all. When I say white supremacy, I'm not saying white people. I'm saying white supremacy. It's a system. There's a lot of great white people that do a lot for us to help us out in this whole fight against white supremacy. So I salute all of y'all. It's definitely not saying nothing against white people. It's about white supremacy. And we have to understand these things. And they hit us with a lot of distractions to make us hate one another. If you ask a racist, what do you hate about a black person? They can't tell you, oh, they're lazy. How can you say that? How many black people did you ever meet, really? And most of them never even met a black person, but they just going off of what they heard. You understand? Oh, they're trying to rape our women and all this stuff. That's going all back to the slave days too, the fear that they had of the black man, because they knew that the white woman was attracted to the black man even back then. That's where you get all that tall, dark, and handsome and all this other stuff from. They were already attracted to us, you know, and the white man felt inferior back then and started putting a lot of things in place over here to try to make things be what they needed it to be. And that's the truth of the whole matter. You can do the research. You can feel how you feel about it. Like I said, at the end of the day, a lot of these things going on are all things that were planned out from way back then. You know, even the stuff that's happening right now. All the stuff we're seeing is nothing new. It's all the same stuff that's been happening. It just changes and it goes in different forms. We have social media. People are capturing and sharing it more, so it's more information being shared. Now, the challenge is this. How many of you are going to stay rooted in your belief, blind belief, things that you never saw before, but you just been believing in it? But now when you have the truth in your face, there's video evidence of things that you're seeing. They're not making it up. This is video evidence. You can see it. How many people are going to still hold on to that blind faith that they've been holding on to this whole time? And that will determine the fiber of who you are as a person. If you can look at atrocities and still hold on to what you've always believed and feel like everything is what it needs to be, and you won't stand up to make it what you thought that it was, you know, a lot of people ain't doing it from a place of malice. A lot of people are doing it from a place of ignorance. You don't know. You don't know that it's like this. But now that you're seeing it, it should raise something in you. If a dog getting shot raises something in you, if Mike Vick got to go to jail for 2 years for allowing people to fight dogs on his property, if he got to get locked up for 2 years, a policeman definitely needs to get locked up for wrongly shooting some folks. How you jump on the hood of a car and shoot somebody 15 times through the windshield after your partner's already done hit him with 100 rounds in the car anyway, but you don't get nothing for that? Like, how does this happen? How you run up in somebody's house and just start shooting and kill a little girl, but don't nothing happen to you? How you choke a man out on the streets of New York for selling cigarettes? He's selling Lucy's, and you choke him out, and you get nothing for that. Like, how do these things occur? And the people who have a problem with Kaepernick and Gabby and anybody else who exercises silent protest, how do you sit by and don't have a problem with the rest of those things? I think sitting down pales greatly in comparison to being gunned down. You understand? Let's think. And then you have people saying, oh, Kaepernick, shut up, you making $100 million and all this other stuff. Okay, he's making $100 million, and what he's doing right now is risking that money. You know, some people say he's doing it for publicity because he wants to get playing time. That's not going to get him playing time. He still got to produce on the field to get playing time. So that's not it. I think what happens is people get enlightenment. You know, you get information and this stuff. You're like, wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't know. For those of us who have always known, some of us say, wow, how didn't you know? They didn't know. They didn't have to live through certain things that some of us had to live through. I've been snatched out of my vehicle by police just because I was in the area and what I was driving and how I looked. I've been like that. I've been in the tuxedo coming from galas and snatched out of my vehicle and put down on the ground. You understand? Like, I've had these things happen, you know. So I understand how it is, obviously, you know, and I had a whole bunch of other things I could speak about. Like, I know very personally about it, but a lot of people don't know. But now that you have the information, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue to demonize people like Kaepernick and Gabby and let yourself be distracted with gestures such as that hurt nobody? That didn't hurt anybody. All that did was raise awareness that there's a problem here and that what the flag is supposed to stand for is not being upheld. So I cannot stand in allegiance to that because what that flag represents today is not what it said that it was supposed to represent. And then even when you do the one on the flag and do the history on it and when it was done and all of that, you see that the history was still rooted deeply in oppression and things like that back then too, as far as the meaning of the Star-Spangled Banner and why they put that to go along with the flag and to reverence our country. And also the president who did so. So go ahead, do a little research on it and you'll see. You know, so at the end of the day, for black and brown folks, America has a different meaning for us. We are proud to be here. We're proud Americans. I believe a lot of us are proud Americans. I'm a proud American. I'm just not proud of what America now stands for. And I'm not proud of what America has allowed to continuously happen forever since we've been here. I'm not proud of that, you know, and until people who do have a voice continue to stand up and speak out about it and just raise awareness. That's all we can do. It's been drilled into us for years and years and years. They drilled it into us for years about the negativity, the negative things about ourselves. So we have to be able to hear positive things about ourselves. We have to be able to see the negative things that go on in the world when people thought that it was all good. Oh, it's cool because there's no slavery anymore. It's cool because they're not hosing down black folks in the streets no more. That's all right. It's cool because there's no colored only signs and all this other stuff. But there's still places in the country where those things do still occur, number one. Number two, just because that's not so overtly happening now, you look at all these executions of black and brown people, and you have to at least feel something, some type of empathy for the families or something. You have to feel something. And if you do not feel anything, you will not do anything. You understand? And if you do not do anything and if you do not feel anything, then you cannot feel anything about Kaepernick or Gabby doing their silent protest, because at least they're connected to what exactly is going on, and they're just giving their emotions a lane to flow, and they're expressing themselves that way. You understand? It's your man Breeze. This is Fuel, y'all. Keep an open mind. Understand every situation. You might not have ever lived in it, but once again, once you see something, you get information. Don't be so much like steel and so stiff that you can't be fluid like water and adapt to the information that you get and to understand how you need to move from there, from that point forward. All right? Once again, it's your man Breeze. It's Fuel, maintain focus, achieve greatness. Control the hype and the course, ponder and progress all the time. You know, of course, be great. You know, enjoy the intangibles, you know, and, you know, at the end of the day, just do everything you can to be the best that you really can be. All right?